G'day, cunts! Welcome to episode number 58 of the Greencast, a podcast by me, Mr. Greentext, where I ramble to myself in my bedroom like a fucking madman. And, been a little bit since I've done a solo potty. Not gonna lie, there hasn't been that much to really fucking talk about in my life. But, might be a bit of a longer episode this week, because, I've actually done some things, I've been working on some stuff. And there's been a lot of stuff that's been happening just in like pop culture and the media recently that I just wanted to talk about as well. One of the main random things that I accidentally ended up doing, those who follow me on my TikTok will probably already know what I'm talking about. Yes, this is a plug for my TikTok that I'm shamelessly putting in the podcast. Go follow it. I do actually put up some pretty cool content on there from time to time. But hilariously, for those who also listen to the podcast, the last episode where I had my my friend on that I skate with a lot, it was with him, and I'm pretty sure this was post-podcast that we did this as well. So basically what happened was we met up closer to him this particular time to go skate. I don't think I'm going to say the specific location, but with some of the information you might find out, doesn't really matter particularly. But basically we met up skating around. It's like we met up at like 8:30 at this time. You know, just practicing our flat ground tricks for a little bit. It's a much sort of newer area. It's probably been like, you know, some nice paths. There's a big tennis center nearby as well. So there's a lot of nice flat, nice new concrete that's perfect for skating and, you know, just rolling on in general. We're skating along, and there's basically this giant just path that probably goes on for maybe about like 500 meters. And we're just cruising down. And we come across this just random, like, house that we still don't really know. Thank you, Windows, for that. We still don't really know what exactly it was, whether it was, like, a weird cafe in the middle of fucking nowhere or, like, a real estate thing. But there was still obviously some property development happening around the area. We couldn't really find any signs. And it was also just dead quiet as hell around this time. There was, like, no one around. It was quite eerie, surprisingly, especially with just the completely empty streets. And so we're wandering around, and we just come across this, like, green wooden fence that has a giant hole in it. And we peek our head through, and we just see just some just abandoned buildings. And it's almost pitch black. And I stick my head back out, and I'm like, man, you know, you would just have to go in there, right? Just like, well, yeah, fuck it, why not? And so I throw on my my phone, and just turn on my flash and just record the entire thing and use the recording flash as my light. And so we go in, and we can only see two buildings from where the fence is as well. And so we're like, okay, probably not that big, but, you know, it could be fun. We walk in the first place, not that very deep. I'd say maybe like 3 meters wide, but maybe like, I don't know, 5 or 6 meters wide, long, I think. Not doing conversions for Americans because fuck you, get better units of measurements, you dumb cunts. But yeah, we explored that a little bit. We found it was mostly just like, you know, it's typical sort of abandoned house sort of, you know, I think it was like offices, the first one we sort of found, because it was just a bunch of documents and looked like some, what are they called? Where you put like little pamphlets, like a pamphlet holder, giant wooden thing. Cabinets toppled over. There's like a little storage thing that said like permits, masking tape, the word permit all around the place. So yeah, we wandered around there for a little bit. The entire time as well, we've got our fucking like skateboard up by the ready to fucking smack a cunt in the head. Because we don't know what the fuck we just walked into. We're just like, hey, that looks like fun. Let's go in there. Fucking. Both of us are in shorts. And we're getting those little... Australians know what I'm talking about. We're getting those little fucking like... I don't even know what the hell they're called. You know those little fucking plants that they just have these little... They're not bindies. But they're these little spiky bastards that just stick to your clothes. I don't know if America really has them so much, but my Australian followers, they know the shit I'm talking about. You walk in any sort of long grass, you'll just be covered in these little fucking prickles and little bits and pieces. So immediately our socks are covered in that, and we don't even realize till we're like halfway through. And so we're wandering through, and we leave the first building through the opposite side that we came in, and it just opens up into this giant, like, courtyard, and it's, like, completely encased in a giant like U shape, probably more of an O shape with a couple like exits and openings to like the behind us and off to the left. And immediately the first thing that I see that goes to my attention is a giant antique abandoned bandsaw, which I thought was pretty cool. Ran up to it and I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. It looks like it's from fucking like the 1800s with how large it is and just how chunky and how the whole thing looks like it's out of cast iron. And so yeah, we immediately like go in what looks like the workshop. Well, the thing behind it had a padlock on it, but it looked like you get into it from the another door. And immediately we go around. Immediate stink. There's obviously been a cave-in from the ceiling, and there's been some water linking in there. And it's just that, I don't really know how to describe it, it's just that moldy, fucking watery smell of like wet carpet and just wet drywall that's been there for a good couple of years. It's my favourite part, is taking a swig of water and then not editing it out of the podcast, because I can't be fucked. So we explore this just room. We get like maybe 3 steps in, and I'm like, I'm not going any further because I don't want to get a new form of COVID and be a super spreader from whatever fucking disease I am definitely going to get from whatever is in this fucking room. So we leave out there. We're walking around, and it just looks like, this compound looks like a prison yard almost, which immediately ups the creepiness factor. This was like a Thursday night, it may be like 9 p.m. at this time. We're just wandering around. And so we go over to like another line of what looks like stables. And we get up closer and you can see like, you know, it's not got like the full... It's like got that half sort of wooden door frame thing that you would see in like a stable, but all of the like insides of the stables, it's all like concrete on the inside. It's not like dirt like I think it would be usually if that was the case. It was for animals or whatever the fuck, which immediately is just like, oh, if this is a prison, this is fucked as hell. Meanwhile, there's like graffiti that's like half kind of terrifying, but not, because 80% of it is dicks and the others are just like creepy faces and just other phrases that just say fuck off and just like get out and stuff like that. Above one of the doors we went into, it just said I am Groot. Don't know what that was about, but it was there, which you can see by the video that's on my TikTok. I'm plugging it again because I can. And so we go into, actually, now that I say that, we go into the room that has the I am Groot thing over the door frame. And, you know, it's looks like more of an office sort of thing. There's a giant, like, abandoned Arctic freezer. Like the deep storage freezers in there as well. That's unplugged. That's also probably been sitting there for a while, judging by the puddle of black liquid that was in it. And so I look at the desk and look at the documents and I start reading it. And it's literally talking about test subjects and how so-and-so performed better with this other stuff. And I'm like, this can't be real. This is real life. What did we just find? And I look down the bottom. Before I even finish reading it, my friend comes over and is just like, bro, what the fuck? Look at the date. And it's dated like July 6th, and it just says 66, and we're just like, wait a minute. This surely can't be from 1966, right? That's fucking 60 years old, bruh. What? So this... Wait, 54 years old to be exact. I know math. I think 66. Yeah, 54-year-old document, which is in pretty good condition to be just sitting out on a table like that. Whether someone had just like pulled it out of a cabinet and thrown it on there, I don't know, or strategically placed. Either way, that was creepy as fuck, just finding like a literal document talking about test subjects and how they're responding well to a new type of like serum or whatever the fucking dated like 1966. If we go back there, I'm gonna yoink that, just because I fucking can. I know with these sorts of places you probably shouldn't, but man, I want that fucking document so bad. And talking about this, I am gonna go back at some point, actually maybe even this weekend, so might have another fuck story to tell you about. But yeah, we leave that room, we're exploring a little bit more, and then we suddenly, we hear a sound, and we take no fucking chances, and we immediately just turn off all of our lights off and start walking around in complete darkness, which is also just another level of, I don't know if I was, scared, but you do have that sort of, sinking feeling in your gut. And look, I'm not afraid of the dark, but being in a place like that you absolutely know nothing about, literally anything could be in there. Wild animals, people, there could have been squatters there. I don't know why there would have been, but there could have been. A crackhead or fucking someone. So we're just walking around in complete darkness, and we come to like what looks like the main hub sort of building hall thing. And all the main doors to this one are all boarded up and we can't get into. However, we do see a chair pushed up against the wall with directly under a window. And obviously this is what people use to get inside to actually have a look. And we weigh up our options, and then we just do occasionally hear rumbling of something and some sort of like random noises from the inside of one of these buildings to like the left of us. And so we sit there in the dark for a second and we think about it. We're like, do we really want to go into this completely dark fucking hall, and again that we know absolutely nothing about, that the only weapon we really have is a skateboard, which it's a good and a bad weapon. Could be a shield, could be a good blunt force weapon, especially with those metal fucking trucks. You clock someone on the head, you could easily fucking kill them, but if I'm going in that sort of thing, I'm going in with a bloody knife, man. I'm going to shank a cunt, or at least some sort of longer sort of weapon, maybe like a golf club or some sort of bat or something, just in case. Something with reach, so that way I don't... Yeah, now, why did I even say knife? I don't want to get that fucking close to be able to stab someone. If I'm getting some sort of weapon, I'm getting a blunt force weapon, like a bat or something like that, now that I talk about that and say it out loud. And so we weigh up our options and we're just like, let's not enter this place where the only exit and entry that we can see is through a fucking window with probably shutter glass everywhere. And meanwhile, we're just still in all of our skate gear and fucking shorts, covered in those little fucking prickly things and everything. And we're like, okay, we can still hear stuff from the inside. Let's fucking leave. And so I agree. We turn around, we go back through the building we came in, and we slowly exit through the hole that we came through. However, the story does not fucking end there. Oh, does it not? Because we sit there for like 5 minutes or so, picking off all these little things off our socks and shoes, and we decide to explore the area a little bit more. Again, for context, this is sort of like a newer development area, but it's like in the stage where they've laid all the roads down, but they still haven't like fully cleared. Like there's some debris around a lot of the open land around the place. And so we're walking down the road after we've picked up all this stuff, and we're coming to a T-intersection. And at the end of the T-intersection on our end, there's an electrical box, and it's got one of those like little alcoves where the fence kind of like goes back and then around it, so people can obviously get in there and engineers can fix it and whatever the fuck. And we're walking along, and then I noticed like just a sudden flash of light down at the bottom of the electrical box, but I think nothing of it, because I'm like, whatever, one random flashlight, could be fucking anything, could have been like a reflection or something, could have been a car light, think nothing of it. And then I see it a couple more times, and then I notice that it's a rectangular light, and I notice it's down very low and someone's lying down behind this electrical box. Meanwhile, it's completely pitch black, there's no fucking street lights there illuminating what could be there. And I'm talking to my friend, and immediately I just stop the conversation, and I just say, I'm just like, there's a guy, dude, there's a guy there, bro, there's a guy there. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's also British, which is really funny. He's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean there's a person there? And then like he sees the light for a second as well. And then we get closer to the intersection, and we see a literal just head pop up from behind the fucking box. Again, we still can't see the light, so it's just a shadow of a fucking head we just see rise. And then a hand come out from behind it, over to the side, and wave at us, and almost like wave to come over. And we both look at each other more like, absolutely fucking not. I've never seen this cunt skate so fucking fast in my life. In fact, he was focused on skating so fast that he fucking obviously wasn't fully coordinated. It was more focused on just like, fucking bub, get the hell out of there. He fucking cocks it and flies off his board. It was one of the most hardest falls I've ever seen this cunt do in my life. And he like sprawls across the ground. And Bottle fucking goes across the road. The first thing I just said is, bruh, are you okay? Jesus, bruh, that looks so bad. What the fuck? And meanwhile, I'm helping him back up and everything else. And we're just like, we made it maybe like 100, 200 meters away. The box is still very much within our vision. And so we sit down. Well, I'm fine. I was just like behind him. I'm just like, this man's skating so fast. I just know he's going to cock it. And he did. And so I'm helping him. He's bleeding a little bit from his knees. He scuffed it a bit from his fall. And so as he's just like sitting there, just like letting the adrenaline run down a bit, I'm just like, let me just walk out on the road and have a look. And I see a literal fucking shadow of a man. Like, imagine like that one video of the fake Sasquatch where he just like is sort of hunched over. It's like his arms are swaying more than they should. That's what I fucking saw come out from behind this box, walking out in the middle of the road, made eye contact with me 100%, and then just fucking 180 back and just walk back to the electrical box. And we sit there for a bit, contemplating in what the fuck we just saw and experienced. And, and so I have the bright idea. I'm like, man, we can't let the saga end here. We have to go back to check it out. We feel a little bit better about ourselves. We feel a little bit more cocky. And they're like, there's two of us. Surely we'll be fine. And so we start skating a little bit back up. And we're about halfway there. And we see the man suddenly come out from behind the box. And we see another figure come out from behind the box. A much smaller figure in stature. Almost as if one is male and the other is female. And we see them holding hands. And we quickly put two and two together that, these random people were fucking behind the electrical box at 9:30 at night on a Thursday in the middle of nowhere. What the actual fuck? And we just think about of how fucking creepy that was. And also just how funny it would have been from their perspective. With the dude just being, like, I don't know, just lying there on his phone, just like chilling, or whatever the fuck he's doing. And just hear there's someone there! Bro, I can see someone, there's someone there! And then them frantically pulling away and just hearing bro, you okay, bro? And then him just being like, what the fuck? And then walking out to go check out and see what it was. See some retards like sprawl out across the road because they fell over and be like, fuck it. I'm gonna go back and finish up whatever the fuck I was doing or whoever I was doing. And then obviously he did. And then fucking off he went. That was the last story of the two. And then we're just like, man, they could have been easily like fucking inside any of the buildings we went into in the like abandoned compound as well. Easily, no questions asked. I don't know why they chose the electrical box of all places, because later on, we did like a circuit and we came back again and went back to the electrical box. There's a hole behind the fence in the electrical box too, so they could have just come out from some other random like piece of land. So yeah, that was absolutely fucking like terrifying and cool as hell at the same time. We actually would have shit our pants. Like, imagine just being like, this would be a cool experience, go on this thing, and you just see two people fucking on the bench, two hobos. Fucking just run, bruh. Another one of the things I've been focusing on lately too, and devoting a lot of my spare time to, I've been trying to figure out other ways to expand my revenue streams as well. And seeing a lot of other people and, thinking about things that I enjoy that I can invest my time in and have like a good perspective on. I kind of came to the realization like, it'd be really fun. I want to start a clothing brand. Like, I know you're going to say, it could be titty fresh or whatever the fuck, but, I don't know. I've always kind of wanted to do it, and I've always had like ideas for merch and that sort of stuff. But as cool as it is to just throw it up on like Teespring, whatever the fuck, like their quality is not great. And I've been doing a shit ton of research into the styles and the ways of people make and print T-shirts as well. And what a lot of these services, especially online, like Teespring do, is that they do a process which is called DTG, or direct to garment, which is where it literally you spread out the actual T-shirt, and then with a fucking like $40,000 printer, it prints directly onto the T-shirt. But the problem is with a lot of those things is the quality suffers a lot of the time. So if you have anything with like more than 2 colors, fucking put it in the bin, because it's just not gonna last or look any sort of quality. Not gonna look at any sort of quality. I am ape, and I do not know how to speak. But I've been trying to figure out, been like, because that was my idea originally. Is it just I'll find a local manufacturer, and then resell them, and then post everything off myself, and do all the designs and everything. We'll talk about designs a bit. So I was thinking about it. I found a place that was like somewhat near me. Got one printed. It didn't say the process, but it was DTG printing, just looking at the quality of it already. And it was a 4K image that I provided as well, so I know it's not my problem on my end with the quality-wise. It's definitely on their end. But with the T-shirt and the printing, I think it cost me like $17, I think, which... And I'm looking to probably sell it for maybe like 35 Australian dollars. This is all just going to be like... Obviously, it's going to be my own local currency. So it's it's almost double profit, but not quite. And immediately after seeing the quality of the T-shirt I got from them, I'm like, I'm not fucking using you. Not at all. Which is funny as well, because obviously, being my first order, they try to bait me real hard, they literally gave me like a free water bottle and a giant like sticker pack, and I think some other just garbage as well. Which I would use fucking end of it. Immediately threw the stickers in the bins. I'm like, why would I fucking stick these on some random T-shirt printing company I've never heard of? Why would I put this anywhere? In the bin it goes, and then it did. So I think in the end I settled on trying to, which it's going to be a lot more work on my end, but I'll be able to quality control everything, because basically I'm going to try and do it all myself, which might fuck me, but I don't know, I'm down for the challenge, and especially with starting a brand like this, which is really what I'm sort of aiming to do. Where's I going with that? Yeah, it's the sort of thing where it can be like I don't think I'll be making Mr. Greencast videos forever, but a T-shirt or a clothing brand, I think you could make for a good while, as long as you still market yourself right and everything else. But yeah, I'm trying to make the most of opportunities, I guess. Like, earlier on, for those people who know, I have a 3D printing business as well, which is going okay, but a lot of the printers are getting to the point now where they're breaking down a lot of the time, and it's fucking me a little bit, because a lot of them I'm just like, I don't know how to diagnose them, or it's constantly having to buy new parts for them, whatever the fuck, and this downtime's fucking me, and not being able to do large orders because they fail like 20 hours in out of like a 40-hour print or whatever the fuck. So I'm trying to diversify myself a little bit more. And I did that with a lot of the revenue I made from YouTube in the early days, and that's how I afforded the 3D printers. And so I'm using a lot of the money as well, especially from good old COVID benefit. Thank you, government, for the money. I mean, a lot of it also goes to bills, and obviously my rent and stuff anyway, which, goddamn, man, those bills suck ass. Literally got paid today and almost immediately lost all of it, as I, like, paid off electric bill, internet bill, rent for 2 weeks, some afterpay bills, and some other stuff. I'm like, oh, I've got money. It's like, in my account it goes, and out of my account it goes. Fucking, see ya, just waved that fucking money goodbye as it passed through my account, essentially. It didn't come to my account, it was just fucking passing through. So I bought myself a heat press, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the method called, actually, what is it called? I've already forgotten it. Fuck, what is it called? Not sublimation printing. Heat transfer. That's the fucking one. Which also you got to do a lot of research into as well, because a lot of the entry stuff is just the garbage, fucking iron-on ones. Whoop, fucking hell. I just something to eat, and I always get a bit bloated when I eat, and always fucks me up a bit. But yeah, I'm gonna do heat transfer. So you have to try and figure out like decent, heat transfer sheets and everything else like that. Oh yeah, the main reason I did heat transfer is that I do want to do sort of some pastel-y sort of stuff, as well as darker t-shirts, which I do like black t-shirts and stuff on that. I was considering doing sublimation printing, which is essentially... Okay, so there's a lot of breakdowns here. So everything is with like this heat transfer paper. And basically you print directly onto it through... You can just use a standard inkjet printer. As long as it, prints out nice quality. And then you peel off the back. You place it on the t-shirt whereabouts you want it. You stretch it out over a heat press. And then you place some silicone paper or some baking paper or something like that, just to give a layer of whatever the fuck. And you bring down the heat pad over the top and then heat it up for a certain amount of time, depending on the material of the t-shirt and whatever the sheets recommended you use settings. Could be 30 seconds or whatever the fuck, or depending on if they're cotton or polyester blend or whatever the fuck else. It all very much varies. And so you can... That's basically how you, a lot of the time, just standard heat press with heat transfer is the sort of style of shirts where if you have a t-shirt with a print on it, go grab it now, and if you feel a sort of vinyl-y sort of like texture to it, and it's sort of raised, like you can feel it on the t-shirt, that's probably a heat transfer. But sublimation transfer ink is the same sort of process with the heat transfer paper, except the ink that you print it with is made of such a material that when you heat it in the heat press and it gets to a certain temperature, the ink actually turns from a solid to a gas for a brief moment, and then once it cools down, it turns back into a solid into the t-shirt itself. So that's how you see a lot of t-shirts where it looks like it's just part of the t-shirt. Like if you bunch it up or whatever the hell, the print still looks absolutely fine, and that's a part of the t-shirt forever. Whereas especially with the heat transfer pages as well, your t-shirts might typically only last like 40 to 50 washes as well before it starts to crack and everything else, which, I mean, that's pretty good longevity for the t-shirt. But the main problem that I didn't go with sublimation printing is the fact that apparently it just doesn't work on dark t-shirts, which a lot of my t-shirt designs have the dark or black t-shirts, so that just went out the window. So I guess it's heat transfer. But it's been so fucky as well. So I have the heat machine for it. I have some sheets to test with. I have some sample t-shirts. I think I've figured out the one that I want to go with. The brand I particularly want to go with, it I think fits the best and has, the best sort of quality with it. But my main problem is the fucking printer. My current printer is okay. A lot of the printers, though, if you want any sort of quality, especially with photo printing, you want typically the CMYK printers, which are like the cyan, the yellow, and the magenta ones, and they might even have a black cartridge as well. My current one that I have is just a fucking black and then like a magenta all-color one, which is the ones you typically want to avoid. And also it's running low on ink, and I paid like $50 or $60 for the printer with the included ink. And it might even just be fucking cheaper to buy a whole new printer with the included ink than buy official fucking ink. So I'm just like, I might as well just, I am still going to buy a brand new printer that just has the included ink. Actually, I did buy a printer. What am I talking about? I bought a Canon Pixma something or other. It was an A3 as well, just so I can eventually expand into maybe even printing A3 posters and just do like entire back prints for t-shirts as well, which I do actually really want to do. I just can't at the moment because my heat press, I'm an ape. I didn't really read it. It's only A4 size, but oh well. I'll expand to it eventually, hopefully, if this actually works out, I guess. But I got the printer, I unboxed it, and it had a problem immediately that the print head itself, where you load in the cartridges, it would not move to the spot it needed to be able to actually load in the ink properly. It literally had like LED indicators to tell that whether it's like actually inserted or whatever the fuck. And not once did it move there. And it'd like get halfway across and then stop, and then like an orange light would flash and the power light would flash, and apparently there were error codes, and the error codes we looked up didn't match anything because there were more blinks than there were on the fucking sheet. It was a whole fucking like thing. Sometimes it would skip. We tried loading the ink manually, pulling it over, still didn't fucking work. Called up Canon the following Monday, and they're like, nah, it's a hardware problem, nothing we can do, you gotta take it back to the seller. And so I'm currently waiting for a fucking refund, which is actually supposed to be due today, but they haven't sent it, so I'm probably gonna follow up again. Those bastards. But that was $300 down the fucking drain. So I'm trying to get that refund, then figuring out a new fucking printer to get. So I might even just get like a nice quality A4 printer. But it's also surprisingly... Oh, I guess it didn't close out that fucking tab of Facebook. Oops, exposed. I'm a bit of a boomer. Don't tell anyone. Basically, what was I just saying? Oh yeah, printers. Why is it so hard just to find just a printer? All fucking printers nowadays are marketed as an all-in-one fucking printer that, you know, it has a fax machine built in. It has a fucking scanning machine built in, which... Who the fuck is scanning anything nowadays? Like, I can fucking guarantee you that the phone you currently have has a better quality camera and can take a better quality pictures of documents than your fucking photo scan all-in-one printer fucking can. I figured that out kind of early on. I'm like, oh, this is also just easier to do anything with. I could just take a picture and then just send it to whatever the fuck, put it on my Google Drive, or send it to myself, or email it to myself, or whatever the hell. And so I just do that if I want to scan fucking documents, or scan documents in quotation marks. And fucking, who's faxing someone? For fuck's sake, we don't live in the 80s, cunt. Fucking fax machine. And so they all just have this bullshit gimmicks brought in, which I'm just give me the fucking photo printing aspect of it. That's all I fucking want. And there's not that much variation that I can just readily go buy in retail for whatever fucking reason. And of course, when I contacted the seller, I'm like, hey man, I just really want one that works. Can I return this and just get a new one? And they're like, would if we could, but we've been waiting for stock since November, and we have no idea when we're going to get new stock. And I'm like, cool. Guess I'm fucked. And so I'm currently in limbo waiting for this refund and still trying to figuring out a good fucking photo A4 printer, I guess, for now. So if you have one that you want to recommend me, I guess let me know. That's probably like at least 300, well, under $300 or under Australian. I don't know what's in freedom dollars, like 200 probably. But yeah, recommend me if you have any. But yeah, I've set up a lot of the pages. I have like a fucking whole bank account for it now, separate PayPal account. I'm probably gonna set up like Afterpay for it as well. I don't know if people overseas really have that. I think they do. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's coming into full swing. I don't think I'm prepared to announce the name of it here. Quite yet. I want to at least get some t-shirts made and start the marketing campaign before I announce it. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot, essentially, being like, hey guys, I'm gonna make a thing, and then it never fucking works out. That sucks. I hate doing that sort of shit. So I want to at least get like a lot of my base designs sort of made first, and then tell you guys about it, about what it's called. Overall, I'm pretty excited for it though. Especially with the quality control, and you know, I've enjoyed the research of it as well, and figuring out what's nice, and also figuring out what a lot of my favorite creators, shout out Lewis Spears and Luke Kidgel, because a lot of their shirts, where they buy it from, are quite easily readily available, and now I know the prices and how much everything fucking costs. It's also just handy too, because I could also just have a look through my t-shirts and then just figure out which one I like the best and fits better on me, and then just Google the tag. I could probably find it wholesale for quite easy. But yeah, but that's like a whole thing. Been figuring out just like how I'm gonna sell it. I've got a whole thing through Shopify. I have a custom URL for it as well. It's something.store, so I don't have to do .com. And apparently, a lot of people don't know you can do that with domain names. You can have custom extensions. I think they're called like TRLs or something like that. THL, some like 3-letter acronym like that. I think it's called. There's literally like a list that you can go on these sorts of websites where you can buy domain names. You can get like a .red or .store or .shop or I don't know. Have a look. There's literally like maybe like I don't say thousands, maybe hundreds of stuff that you can buy. And I mean, if you got the money for it, you can apparently fork over thousands for a custom one. Which I thought you could just do, but apparently not. You just select from a list and then buy that specific one for it, which is what I did, and then transferred it over to Shopify, so then I can set up the store a lot easier through that. But yeah, it's been a whole fucking thing as well. I bought myself a little fucking bamboo drawing pad as well. I've been practicing that, doing a couple of designs. But yeah, I don't know. It's been really fun doing that sort of stuff, and I've enjoyed it. And I'm really excited to share with you guys, because obviously, I'm going to have to disclose it, that it'll be like, hey, I'm sponsored by this. Also, I own it, which I have to disclose. And, you know, reach out to some of my other, like, creator friends and sponsor them too. It'd be fucking epic. Even, like, reach out to some other bigger people and see if I can sponsor them too. Who fucking knows? The main reason why this came up, though, even though I just said it before, half sort of true. I had someone reach out to me to be like, hey, how much would you pay for a t-shirt? And I'm like, oh, I don't know, this much or maybe this much. And I'm like, why are you asking this? And he's like, I'm just starting a t-shirt brand. I'm like, oh shit, me too. And then we talked about it a lot, and we're figuring out a lot of stuff. And I don't know, we ended up just parting ways just due to creative differences, and, you know, shit happens. And stuff like that. We're still on really good terms, whatever the fuck. In fact, we've had multiple conversations of like helping each other and figuring out like, oh, so what method are you doing, and how are you going about this particular thing, and da 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 da. And like, oh, what are you doing for marketing? Blah blah blah. Reach out to this people. Oh, cool, yeah. Maybe I should do that sort of stuff. Like, oh, are you doing it all yourself? Oh man, that's gonna be hard. Like, oh, what are you doing for designs? Da da da. Yeah, I don't know. It's really cool and really collaborative as well. Yeah. That's all I have to really say about that. That's all I really can say about that. Yeah. All right, let's talk about Cyberpunk 2077, shall we? Now, I have some opinions about this game, both good and bad. Let me get out the gate by just saying first that, one, I'm a fucking fanboy. I was very much hyped for this. I still am very much hyped for this game. It's been out. I'm recording this on the 18th. It's been out for about roughly a week at this point. And I have finished Cyberpunk already. Ouch. I thought it was going to be a lot longer, to be honest. Oh, yeah, before I get into it, I guess. I am playing on PC. And let me just say, my experience on PC has been fucking amazing. It's definitely one of the best looking games I've ever played. I'm playing on pretty much all new hardware. The only thing that's kind of holding me back is I've only got a 8 gig GTX 1080. So I don't have a 280 or any of the RTX series, so I can't use any of the ray tracing or anything like that. But it still looks really fucking good. Everything is running on ultra, like literally the best settings I can without any of the ray tracing, which I just can't do on my graphics card. It won't let me. And yeah, it ran fucking completely smooth. I didn't have any times where I had like frame drops or anything like that at all. So, testament to PC optimization. However, very much not the same for fucking PlayStation people. In fact, as I just read this morning, it's so fucking poorly ported on PlayStation 4 and runs so shit on the base station of PlayStation that Sony have outright fucking removed it from the PlayStation Store because they're getting bombarded by people asking for refunds, which typically, apparently Sony's refund policy is once you started playing the game from a digital download, they don't refund it. But CD Projekt Red put out a thing saying, hey, sorry if it's shit on this console, fucking ask them for a refund. If it doesn't work, fucking email us, I guess, and we'll try and sort it out. So Sony's just gone, hey, you bastards, fix your shit, because until you do, you're not making any money from us. Which I can imagine is probably a huge blow to their sales at the moment, because it's not out on current gen consoles, which is PlayStation 5 and Xbox One X. It's only on the last gen, which you still play on the current gen. It's still kind of weird saying current gen. Yeah, you know what I fucking mean. It's not out on the latest generation. It's only out on the previous generation, but you still have to play it on the current generation consoles. Yeah, but yeah, it sucks on the PlayStation 1. I've seen some sort of memes from the Xbox One, but yeah, my experience on PC been fucking amazing. The biggest downside is I thought the game would be a lot fucking longer. Opening up GOG at the moment for me. I just finished the main story and everything last night. I clocked 42 hours on it, and I finished all of the main story. I haven't gone back and done the other endings yet. I'm pretty happy with my ending. Out of the possible ones I could have gotten, apparently. I'm still kind of a bit iffy on it, particularly. But I'm going to check out the rest probably later on. Maybe even tonight, we'll see. But I've also done all of the other main, like, side story quest stuff as well. Like, it's just the odd, like, bits and bobs now floating around the map. I thought there was going to be a lot more for considering how much fucking development time they put in this fucking game. Which, don't get me wrong, these have been some quality quests and everything else. I'm going to go back and try and find specific ones and stuff, too, that I've seen online that are really cool. There was one fucking point where I was just walking around Night City, and then I had just had a vending machine call out to me that apparently the vending machine's name was Brendan, and we had a chat, and then he gave me a free drink after I moved a bin out of his way because he wanted to see the road. I mean, just shit like that just makes the world building great. Bug-wise on PC, I didn't really have that many particularly. There's a couple times where some of the close physics kind of fucked up a little bit, probably more so towards some of the later missions for whatever reason. Especially a lot of the drapey sort of clothes would just like raise up and would just be stiff for whatever reason. What else did I have? There's sometimes where my sprint was just bugged and I couldn't sprint for some reason. I had to reload the save. Didn't really have any graphical bugs, I don't think, at all. No, I mean, yeah, it just ran great on mine. I don't think I had any game-breaking bugs on PC. I was literally scrolling through Twitter before. I just had a poop during the podcast, and I thought you just had to know that. But you don't know that, because the magic of editing. And I saw a meme on Twitter where apparently someone playing Cyberpunk, their third-person camera just broke after they got out of a car and just got stuck there. And so they could just see their first-person, like, character model with no head and how crumpled it looked for the first-person, like, hands and everything like that. And it was just so funny to watch that. But man, it's fucking... I can't imagine the stress CD Projekt Red's going through at the moment. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the game. I just fucking wish it was longer, man. Like, apparently there is some multiplayer coming out sometime next year as well. Probably some other free DLC stuff as well, which I'm looking forward to. I mean, this is definitely the sort of game that I've dreamed of playing within the cyberpunk sort of genre. Well, it is called Cyberpunk. And definitely one of the best looking games I think I've ever played. But, I mean, like, I have more hours than Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But, okay. The only reasons I have more hours in Valhalla at the moment is because Assassin's Creed... I'm going on a bit of a tangent here for a second. Assassin's Creed is still probably one of my favorite video game franchises out there. But a lot of the recent games, they're doing like a whole thing where you just have to grind to complete stories, which is really fucking annoying. Like, to get the ending of Valhalla, you just had to, like, clear out the entire map at Alliance with everybody, which there's 16 I think it counted 16 fucking regions you had to complete like a whole storylines for. And meanwhile, there's 3 acts for Cyberpunk, and how many hours do I have? I think I have like 60 or 50 hours. I think I've got like 65 hours for Valhalla. But again, saying all this, I'm going to go back to Cyberpunk and probably redo those endings and do this other quest that, I mean, they've put obviously a lot of effort into a lot of other stuff. But man, it's just fucking hilarious and sucks for people that are playing it on consoles. Which I do see where some people are coming from. They're just like, why were you expecting it to run well on last-gen hardware? Well, I mean, because it was released for it. I mean, what do you really expect? Of course people are going to be fucking mad, bro. I don't know what you expected. But yeah, I don't know. I just really haven't had many of those problems at all on my end, because I've been playing on PC. And granted, I did just upgrade my PC right before, like literally last month-ish. For those who care, I went from a Ryzen 5 1660X to a Ryzen 5 5600X, which is a very huge jump, and I really needed a new CPU. My old one was like 4 years old, I think, at that point. And that was a whole fucking thing too, upgrading, because the CPU was so new. And then I'm like, oh, just do a BIOS update. Apparently you can't even get into the BIOS unless you have a CPU that's recognized. And I did not realize this for like 3 hours. But also, I don't think my old motherboard was supported with my new CPU. And so I'm like, well, fuck, I gotta go buy a new motherboard. And so, bought a new motherboard, and I'm like, fuck it, well, I'll just get some new RAM as well. Because my other stuff was like, really, it's like, okay, but it was like really low hertz, and I could probably do better. So I got 2 16 gig 3200 megahertz sticks now that are also RGB. They look really fucking nice in the case. But yeah, my motherboard now, it's just the fucking one that's compatible with it. But even then, it was on the compatibility list. I still had to put in my old processor, CPU, to boot it, to update the BIOS, and then swap out the CPU again for the 5600X, and then boot it, and then it recognized it. And I'm like, oh, finally, fucking hell, that was the whole thing. But yeah, running really fucking well. Nothing else to really say about that on my end. Should you buy it? If you're on PC, go for it. I haven't really... There's a couple other bugs over there. Sometimes like vehicles would spawn half in the ground. Apart from that, not really that many game-breaking bugs. If you got it on console, definitely don't buy it yet. But if you're on PC, fucking go for it. Oh, another thing I wanted to briefly talk about as well is apparently Twitch have banned the word simp, incel, inversion. But in context of calling people those things in a derogatory way. So apparently people can still say the word simp, incel, inversion, but they can't directly call someone that. Which I think is fucking hilarious. Because apparently I can still say cunt. And I can still call someone a cunt on Twitch completely fine. But the moment I call someone a simp, bye, banned, derogatory, get out of here. Say what you want about YouTube and their fucking censorship, but at least they're forthcoming, consistent with what naughty words you can and can't say, and don't have like arbitrary bullshit because some fucking fairy fucking they them got offended that they called someone an incel or a virgin or fucking simp or whatever the hell, man. Oh, it's just funny. And but also kind of sad at the same time. It's now coming out the woodwork that some streamers are now getting banned for it. Apparently, Justin Minks got banned for calling people simp, and some of the people in chat simps. So it's already starting to come out, and it'll be interesting to see how this develops, particularly. And yeah, I don't really have much else to really say other than it's funny, and I'm glad that I'm not streaming on Twitch right now. I don't know. I might stream again eventually at some point. I just don't know what I really would do. Oh, also, while I still think about it, no, you can't do it. I was going to say vote for the ingredients for the thing, but the cap is today, so never fucking mind that. However, oh yeah, that's the thing I do want to say before I get into autistic part. I have a PO box now. There's a link in the description to my PO box. I mean, I've had this all year, but I just haven't used it for what I thought I would. So fuck it. You guys can have it. Send me whatever the hell you want. Although, as long as it's not dangerous, whatever the fuck, or just don't send me actual shit in the mail, please. Might even turn it into a series if I get enough packages and whatever the fuck, and open it up on the channel for everyone to see. And for me to get embarrassed as I probably open up 3 boxes in a row containing a dragon dildo. Let's be fucking real. That's all I'm gonna get in my fucking PO box is just dildos, man. I know it, and you know what? I fucking welcome it. If you want to waste your money sending me dildos, be my fucking guest. It's your money. But anyway, let's get into the most autistic part of the podcast, and that is, of course, answer questions, queries, and even talk about some topics from you cunts. So, if you want to send me anything more anonymously and you don't want your name read out, be sure to email me at mrgreentext@gmail.com. It's Mr. Greentext with an S on the end of that. Or drop in my Discord, scroll down to the Greencast channel, and then drop out your shit in there. Idiot in front of desk asks, what would you consider to be the absolute worst movie you ever saw? And I have a answer immediately off my head that I could know about. I know words. I had a shitty movie marathon with some people that I met a couple weeks ago from a party. And we bought some movies that we knew were like shit with the intention of being shit. But there's a very fine line between a shitposty movie and a movie just being absolutely garbage. And we found one of those movies, and it was called... Oh, what was it? It was called Battleship or something like that. It had fucking Sarah Connor in it, and I guess that was where all the fucking budget went. Because all the sets looked great. All the costumes looked amazing. It was just the CGI was intentionally garbage. Let me see if I can find her. What is her goddamn name? If I just search Sarah Connor... Who's that actor's name? Linda Hamilton. Alright, let me go on Linda Hamilton's IMDb and see if I can find what the fuck this movie was called. I think it was somewhat recent too. Nope, Terminator, no. She's in Gears 5, did not know that. Oh wait, what? Gears 5? She's Sarah Connor. Lol, of course she is. Lost Girl, Bermuda Tentacles, that's what it's fucking called. Oh, yeah, that was just... we didn't finish it. It was, I mean, granted, it was getting later in the night, but everyone kind of, like, half sort of fucking tapped out a little bit. No one's really paying attention. And we didn't even finish the fucking movie, but it was the absolute fucking worst. The worst video game I've ever played. I can't think of any direct bad video games that are just horrible off the top of my head. There's definitely been quite a few games as of recent where I started and they just never got into and fucking gave up. EA and both Microsoft have their own little game subscription service thing, and I got to I don't know why I went a bit New York there with my stutter. I got to catch up on some games that I missed out, like what's it called? The Outer Worlds. Played that for like 2 hours and then just couldn't get into it and gave up. Played No Man's Sky, played that for a bit and then couldn't get into it and gave up. What else was there? I swear there was another game. There's been quite a few like that recently. Oh yeah, the Avengers game. I played like 3 hours of that and then just moved on to something else because I couldn't give a shit, to be honest. It just felt too grindy and I couldn't give a fuck. I saw the scope of it and I'm like, no, I don't think I will. I just gave up for it. But I can't think of any games off the top of my head that are directly just like, that was shit and I'm never playing that again. Sam Femboy Slayer asks, would you recommend getting a 3D printer to someone... Would you recommend getting a 3D printer to make some money with? Wouldn't I do it? No, I wouldn't. And I say that because if you're just buying it directly with the intention of being like, I'm going to make money off it, you're already good luck. Unless you're doing a shit ton of research or there's a particular hobby you're buying it for and you're getting into, that you plan to sell with, don't. You're fucked. Like mine is I just make props and that sort of stuff with 3D prints. There are websites where you can have your printer as like a service for hire sort of thing. I think there was one ages ago called 3D Hubs that I tried using and thought, I'm like, I'm gonna make some money off it like this. However, the problem is that you very much get priced out, and it's just not worth it. And especially being like a new person trying to get on to get orders, it's just not worth your time. For example, like when people upload models, it calculates prices based on cubic centimeters of volume of printer material that it would use. And so you can set that. So I think I set mine to like $5 or like $3 or whatever, or 20 cents or something like that. And I had like two or three orders maybe. And like I had someone submit a Star Wars handgun, and it was literally like $20 to print it. And I'm like, and it was, I think, like 15 or 16 hours to print it, which is not worth it for $20 at all. And the final nail in the coffin was someone put in an order on my store to print housings and parts for them to build a 3D printer. And it literally would have been like, I think it was like over 100 hours of printing, and they charged him $50 for it. And I just cancelled my order, and just cancelled his order, refunded him, and just closed my account. Because I'm like, this is not worth my time at all. So avoid those fucking things at all. If you're getting into minis or something like that, I'd recommend more resin printers and SLA printing, something like an Anycubic Photon. But if you're just buying a printer because you're like, I want to make money, don't. It's like starting a YouTube channel and being like, I'm going to start this channel because I'm going to make money. You're already going in with the wrong intentions. Same sort of deal. You fucked it from the get-go. But yeah, if you are going there with a specific niche, and then market that shit to hell, son. Striker asks, would you date someone who had an OnlyFans? I think I would. I don't know. I guess it very much depends on what sort of content they have on their OnlyFans. It is very much their sort of stuff. And, okay, so, also a whole thing, a tangent. People can have preferences on who they want to date. If they don't want to date someone who has an OnlyFans, that's their fucking preference. They're not like, they don't hate women. They don't hate people that make money off that stuff. I mean, some fucking obviously do. I'm not one of those people. If you fucking got it, chase the bag, son. If I had tits, I'd probably start on OnlyFans too, my dude. But I don't, so I'm fucking here recording this garbage that I make no money on at all. Oh, also, quick aside. Talking to one of my friends from uni, who also uses the same podcast service that I do. And they're like, oh yeah, I read adverts and I make like so much money off every podcast. And they have like significantly less like views than me too. So I'm like, how are you doing that? I swear it's only like, because for the thing as well, you have to be an American citizen or have like an American card to be able to actually run ads on your podcast with this service, which I'm in Australia, so I just can't fucking do. I mean, I tried this like 6 or 7 months ago, so I'm like, oh, they must open it up. And she's like, oh no, my podcast producer lives in America and it gets paid into her account and then back to mine. And I'm like, oh, fuck me, I guess. Guess I need a producer in America for my podcast to get paid. No, I don't really care that much, to be honest. I just do this for fun. And like talking to myself, because I'm, insane. But yeah, would I dare to go with OnlyFans? I think I would, to be honest. I don't know if I would get involved in the sense of directly being I'd be behind the camera, is what I'm trying to say here. I'll happily take photos for your fucking OnlyFans, whatever. I did a fucking film degree. I know about shot composition and how to set up lights and all that sort of shit. I'll gladly help you out if you really want me to. Yeah, I think I would. I think I would. Plus, she's got that extra cash money on the side. But I think it's always funny, especially. It's like that with everything that gets popular. I guess it's the same thing with YouTube. And let me just give that example before I give the OnlyFans example. The thing with YouTube is that people see a lot of the time. I don't know, even like me, for example. You see me and they're like, oh yeah, decent following, making a bit of money, which I do make a bit of money, helps me pay my rent, for fuck's sake, which is epic. Shit posting the internet and paying my rent. That's amazing. life fucking goal, man. So like, I'm gonna start a channel and do all that, and then they get mad when they don't do it and waste all that time. OnlyFans, a little bit different. Granted, you don't have to post nudes on OnlyFans. You don't. But if you don't market yourself right, and old Sarah, for example, that's just the first female name that came into my head. Old Sarah that starts up on OnlyFans that's posting her nudes has 5 followers because she doesn't have that much of a following on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. I don't know if you're going to market your OnlyFans through Facebook now that I say that, actually. It's just like, oh yeah, your nudes are just out there now, I guess, and they didn't even make that much money off it. So it's very much a thing you kind of have to be like, alright, I'm going to do this. And I'd say very much so even with like OnlyFans and a lot of online content particularly. I would say 60%? No. 40%? No. This is hard. Maybe half. I'd say half. Yeah, I'd say half, maybe. Half of it is your actual content, and the other half is just your marketing and how you get yourself out there and such. So you can have good content, but if you don't market yourself, no one's gonna fucking see it, and it means nothing. And it's like, well, your nudes are out there now. Fucking oops. Oh well. Some people might care about that, some don't. But yeah, I feel like it's very much a trend where especially some girls are just like old Sarah, who's just like, I'm gonna make a bit of cash, I'm gonna start an OnlyFans, then has no idea what she's doing, and then, oh well, cool. Old mate John from high school can see Sarah's tits now for $5 a month. But, as well as the 5 other people from high school, because that's all she has on social media. But yeah, I don't know. I think I would. I don't think I would date a sex worker. Again, I respect the profession. I don't think that I would be comfortable myself. I'm much more of a monogamous sort of person with my relationships. Say what you want. I don't really give a fuck. That's just my personal opinion. Girls can have more than one sexual partner. Guys can have more than one sexual partner. But if I'm in a relationship with somebody, I think I only want that singular person to be my sexual partner. But that's just my preference. Again, I'm not hating on the people. They can have lives, chase the fucking bag. Again, if I had tits, I'd probably do the sort of same thing. But yeah, I think I'd date someone with OnlyFans. I probably would not date a sex worker or a stripper or anything like that. Which is ironic in saying that because OnlyFans, a lot of people consider to be sex work. Which, is my response to that. Actually, that might even be where I end today's podcast there. Me going, to OnlyFans girls and if they are sex workers. But yeah, what else do I want to say quickly? I have a PO box. If you want to send me garbage in the mail, feel free to. There's a link in the description down below and everything else. Yeah, if you want to contribute to the podcast, email me at mrgreentext@gmail.com or jump on the Discord, also linked down below. Scroll down to the Greencast, bung it in there, whatever the fuck. But yeah, that's all. My name, Jeff, Big Green. Have a good day, you cunt.